right, guys, so Michael Chandler just defeated Benson Henderson. This time, the judges were not needed. Nick and I are breaking that fight down and the future of Michael Chandler's career right now. What's up, Barnhill family? Welcome back to the channel. Your favorite brothers are here today to talk about Michael Chandler's spectacular victory over Benson Henderson and what the future holds from him. So what did you think about that performance?
Yeah, flawless performance. And I think Benson Henderson was doing everything right until it just wasn't going his way. But I was unaware that this was Michael Chandler's last fight on his Bellator contract.
I was too, because it doesn't seem that long ago that he was on Joe Rogan's podcast and Joe was like campaigning for him to come to the UFC and talking about all the fun matchups there. And then you thought maybe we might see Michael Chandler in the UFC, and then boom, all of a sudden he just signed a fight deal with Bellator.
Right.
I must say this contract expiration really creeped up on me. I thought he had at least another year or so on this contract. He said in his post-fight interview he was very respectful to Bellator, to all the employees. He said that he wouldn't be the person he is today if it weren't for the amazing team there. It seems like he has a lot of love for Bellator, but it also seems like he's very interested in some fights. After all, he is a 155er. So the UFC has a lot to offer there. What do you think?
Yeah.
Do we see him in the UFC octagon before his career ends?
The one thing that sort of seemed like a golden rule to me, and I could be wrong, I don't know the stats exactly, but the UFC doesn't usually pick up fighters from Bellator, but Bellator is more than happy to pick up fighters from the UFC, and I get that.
Right.
But I think there's an exception to be made for Michael Chandler with how hot the 155 division around the world is, and just how there's so many people that we need to see him fight. And, you know, I think he's tied for the most wins in Bellator history. And so we've seen him do everything over there.
Yeah.
So I think in order to get some new chemistry and some new, just storylines, we need to see him in another promotion.
I agree. And if you think about Michael Chandler's career, he's got wins over Benson Henderson twice now.
Monster.
Benson Henderson was a long-standing UFC champion.
Right.
He's got wins over Eddie Alvarez. Eddie Alvarez went and became UFC champion.
Right.
I don't think anybody would argue that he would be a nightmare matchup for anybody in the top 5 of the UFC.
He belongs.
He belongs in the top 5 of the UFC. You hear him saying the names, the usual suspects at 155, the Conor McGregor, the Khabib, etc. And obviously, he's not going to just walk over to the UFC and get a fight with Conor McGregor or with Khabib. However, I do think there's some really interesting matchups to be made there for him. You know, people like Dustin Poirier come to mind.
Yeah.
Dan Hooker.
You can't name one person in the top 10 of the 155 division and versus Michael Chandler and not get me excited.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, there's so many like good, and I think with the UFC's 155 division, it's so stacked that there's only so many times you can throw the names together, like Khabib and Conor, or Conor Poirier, or we've already seen this or we've already seen that. Michael Chandler just throws a monkey wrench into that whole mix-up, and then it's like, okay, wow, we've never seen any of these guys fight Michael Chandler.
Right.
So that makes some interesting storylines just from the jump there.
And he's a monster wrestler, monster grappler. And, everybody kind of sees the writing on the wall that Khabib's not going to be around for too much longer. So they might have thought, all right, we're going to get a little break from this overpowering wrestler. But if Michael Chandler comes, it's right back to having a guy like that, a nightmare grappling match, back in the division.
And this last win over Benson Henderson, this is the best I've ever seen him look. When you think about how Benson Henderson is just one of those guys, he's not known for all of his finishes, but he knows how to win fights. He knows how to win rounds, how to do enough, keep himself safe, and really just edge out really good decisions, some memorable fights that come to mind when we think of Benson Henderson.
For sure.
How Michael Chandler was able to just stand in the pocket with Benson Henderson and deliver an absolutely catastrophic knockout blow. It was very impressive. We don't see many guys finish Benson Henderson in that violent of a way. And, he's down in Florida. He talked about how he was away from his family for a few months, working with Henry Hooft. One thing we know about Michael Chandler is you can just take a look at him and see the guy is just freakishly strong.
Right.
He's an incredible wrestler. He's got incredible work ethic. If you want to pick his game apart a little bit, you can say he's not the best striker in the game. He's with Henry Hooft now down in South Florida.
Yeah.
And boy, did his striking look pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to say that somebody who's getting knockout wins over Benson Henderson isn't, or striking's their weakest link, because he looked pretty crisp. But when you talk about the top 5, top 10 in the UFC's 55 division, yeah, I see where there's a little bit of a difference in his striking skills and theirs, but he makes up for it in his grappling skills. And he's one of those guys, those MMA fighters that just strings everything together really well.
Yeah.
You know, some people are so good at stand up, and then when it comes down to the ground, yeah, they've got some great submissions. Somebody like Cowboy comes to mind.
Yep.
You know, he's great on the ground. He's great on his feet, but you know, and even in the clinch. But sometimes you wonder, where's Cowboy's wrestling, offensive wrestling?
Right.
Well, there's no question for Michael Chandler's.
No, and if you had to name, just pull one name out of your head as an introductory fight, should Chandler sign with the UFC, who'd you like to see him get in there with first?
Oh, man. Well, you know, like I said a few minutes ago, you give me 1 through 10 versus Michael Chandler in the UFC's 155, and I'm excited. But if I had to pick one, and we're not talking about fights that are lined up already. Obviously, the Khabib one would be fun, but I think him and Gaethje would throw down like nobody's business.
I think a Michael Chandler-Justin Gaethje fight would be an absolute barn burner. That would be so fun to watch.
For sure.
But seeing as he probably won't get that out of the gate, it's probably going to be, you know, well, obviously it is going to be Gaethje and Khabib, but then who knows what Gaethje will do there. We could see a Tony Ferguson would be a lot of fun. But I think, how about this for an introductory fight? Dustin the Diamond Poirier versus Michael Chandler. I think Dustin would have a little bit of an edge in the striking department.
They're going to throw him to the wolves is what you're saying.
Yeah, Dustin's a monster. I mean, he just fought for a belt, and he was the interim title holder.
Right.
You know, and if you're an interim title holder, I'll just call you a former champ. You know, Dustin Poirier is a former champ. So you talk about Dustin Poirier, his boxing with Dia Davis down in South Florida, excellent boxing coach. You know, he's very good at jiu-jitsu. He's got a dangerous submission game. He defeated Max Holloway for the interim belt.
Yep.
If Michael Chandler could walk in there and get a staple win against somebody like Dustin the Diamond, I think you've got a lot of excitement at the 155 division.
For sure.
Selfishly, you know, I know he's a staple in Bellator, and I know they're going to do everything they can, and they have a exclusive negotiating period where there's a certain amount of time that has to pass where other organizations can't engage in a negotiation with Chandler. He's got to decide, you know, is he going to work it out with them? I think it's 30 days or so.
Yeah.
Or is he going to work it out in that 30 days, or is he going to let that 30 days expire and then view other options? I think he's going to let the time expire and look at other options. Selfishly, I hope he signs with the UFC because I just don't see anything else for him in Bellator. He's already been the champ. He's already beaten everybody.
Right.
His resume is solid. His resume is as solid as a resume can be in Bellator.
Right.
You can't put people like Poirier, Cowboy, you know, on your resume unless you've been in an organization where those people fight. So, you know, Benson Henderson, in my opinion, had a much better resume than Michael Chandler, and he lost to him twice. Right. So I think to solidify his career, we would like to see him in the UFC. At least I would. Yeah. And against some of the top contenders.
Yeah, I think we deserve it as fans. And you know, like I was saying a little bit ago in the beginning of this, the UFC generally doesn't pull from Bellator, but this is one of those times where we just need to see it. And I feel like Dana White, he's such a big fight fan. He's so knowledgeable on the sport. He knows. I'm sure he wants to see some of these matchups just as bad as we do.
Yep.
So hopefully, you know, with the Ben Askren thing, he was able to put differences aside, and him and Ben actually had much more of a beef. I don't think there's any beef with Michael Chandler. And
Dana. I don't know how you could have a beef with Michael Chandler. Right. He seems like such a nice guy, especially in his interview. But
I'm happy he put everybody on the map. He said, "You're all on my radar, and I'm ready for anybody." And you know, it would make me sad if we saw him go to one championship or something, because I don't know the rosters over there.
And the only thing there is a rematch with Eddie Alvarez, and I don't think really anybody's super excited about that. But
Dana, bring Michael Chandler
come on,
to
Dana,
the UFC.
Bring him. Guys, do you agree with us?
Yeah.
Do you agree Michael Chandler should be fighting top 10 contenders in the UFC?
For sure.
Leave a comment. Let us know who you want to see him fight.
Yeah. Give us your opinions, because
don't tell us you want to see him back in Bellator, because we all know that's not true.
Right.
Come on, guys.
Yeah. And shout out to Scott Coker.
Yeah, no disrespect to Bellator, but Michael Chandler needs to go to the UFC.
Yeah. The books always have multiple chapters for a reason. It's time for new chapter.
New chapter. Guys, let us know if you agree with us. Leave us something in the comments. Tell us who you want to see Michael Chandler fight. And please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you listen to podcasts anywhere, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Podbean, you name it, we're there. The Barnhill Brothers. Leave us a review, 5-star, just like your Uber driver.
Yes.
Thanks so much and have a great day.